Hey guys, my name is Garen, and this is our brand new YouTube channel called Whiskey Savages. We're based out of Canada, specifically Ontario. And the idea behind starting this YouTube channel is we're just a bunch of friends, regular guys that aren't involved in the whiskey industry or the alcohol industry at all, but in the last 5 or 6 years have really started to get into whiskey, specifically single malts. We're doing about 2 events a year in the spring and in the fall where we were able to bring a whole bunch of bottles together from different regions and different price points. And we're able to decide for ourselves and taste them all, which ones we like, which ones we don't like, which ones are worth the money or not. So we want to share that information with you, save you a little time and effort and money in sourcing bottles, trying to find them, seeing if it's worth the money, and hopefully to enhance your experience of getting into single malt whiskey. Further on down the channel, as we release more content, we do have some interesting connections within the whiskey industry. So we want to start doing some giveaways, whether it's small samples or entire bottles, but that's going to be coming on in the future. What I thought I'd start off this channel with, it's a little bit polarizing, but starting off with the worst whiskey in these last 6 years that I have tried. I'm not saying this is the worst whiskey of all time. I'm just saying this is by far the worst whiskey that I've ever tried, and also the most disappointed I've ever been in a bottle of scotch. And it's this bottle here. I'm going to hold this up here so you can see it. It's called Glencairn Treasures. Now, this isn't something that you can find in Ontario or in Canada. This was a bottle that was brought back from Scotland by a friend of mine. From a retail location called the Whiskey Shop. There's a bunch of retail locations throughout Scotland. I had given her a few parameters of what I was looking for. I didn't want anything that was way too sweet, because that's not something that I'm really into. I also didn't want something that was way too peaty or smoky. It's kind of specific, and I don't mind it sometime, but I was looking for something that was kind of right in the middle. And this is what the person at the Whiskey Shop recommended. So they buy casks from distilleries, then they finish it themselves, rebrand it, and then sell it. This specifically, this is why I was so excited to get it, is a Lecheg 13-year-old. It doesn't say what casks it was finished in or why it's different than a regular Lecheg, which is from the Tobermory distillery, which I'm a big fan of. But I only opened this once a couple months ago. I had a drink of it with my brother, and we both unanimously agreed it was horrifically bad. Like, especially when our expectations were so high, it was so bad. So on someone's recommendation, what I've actually done is I've poured a little bit ahead of time, just a tiny bit in a Glencairn here. And the recommendation was to leave it sit for a little bit, give it a chance to kind of air out. I'm not really sure what the difference is going to be, and then try it. And also, something I didn't do last time, I didn't add any water to it. So I'm going to try it just as it is now, and then I'll add a little bit of water to it to see if anything has changed over the last couple months. So I'm just going to smell it again. It's the strangest thing. This is one of the things I can't really figure out about this bottle. It doesn't smell like anything. It's so strange to think of something that is supposedly bottled at a 46% ABV. You can smell the alcohol, but really nothing else. If you've ever had really cheap alcohol and you can smell it, but it doesn't have anything else behind it, if you smell it a little bit more, you get almost like a burnt rubber, like metallic, kind of like acidic smell. It's so strange considering like the distillery and the brand Lecheg, like there's no real like peatiness, there's no smokiness, there's none of the vanilla, nothing like that. It just smells bad. It smells like bad and it smells like nothing. So I'm gonna give it a shot here. So this is the first time I've had it since when I opened it a couple months ago. It's so thin, like unusually thin. It doesn't coat the inside of your mouth. It doesn't have any sort of like real lingering flavors. It tastes, if you've ever had liquid multivitamins, it tastes like that mixed with a weird, almost like if you were to have a fire and someone throw like plastic or garbage, if you've ever had that happen. I know that sounds extreme, but that's what this reminds me of. And on top of that, like a stale like crackers or stale oatmeal, like if you've left the bag open for a long time, it is awful, like so bad. The one thing about being thin, the flavor doesn't last a long time. It leaves a really bad aftertaste at the back of your mouth, but like other than that, it's rough. This is rough. So I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of water. So I didn't add water the last time because it was so thin and so flavorless. I just thought if I added more water, it was just gonna make it even more thin and more flavorless. So we'll see what happens. Like it doesn't change the smell at all. It's not getting any better. It's not really getting any worse. Yeah, it's still bad. Like it's even thinner, which I thought was gonna happen. So the taste doesn't linger as long. That kind of acidic, metallic taste of like liquid multivitamins, that still is there. There's just less of it. There's a little less of that smell or that taste of like burning garbage or burning plastic. It's just so bad. Like even if you look at it, I don't know if you can tell on camera how thin it is, even in the glass. It's just all around, it's super poor. This is how bad it is. I actually wrote this company. I wrote the whiskey shop and told them how bad it was, and that I told them it was undrinkable, to the point where I thought it must have been tampered with, because even if you look at the label, if I can hold that up there, and you see if you can see the alcohol content, it's written in pen. So whatever the alcohol content was supposed to be, in the bottom corner there, you can see that it's written in pen. It's super weird. It's super strange. It's really bad. It was just really disappointing being a Lecheg. I was really excited for it because I've never had anything bad with it or from them, and this was awful. The only reason I kept this bottle is to share it with other people to see if they thought it was as bad as I thought. If you think that this review is too harsh or I'm completely out to lunch, like this video, follow this channel, and send me your address. I will, at no cost to you, I will send you a little sample of this, and you can tell me what you think. I'd love to hear somebody else's feedback. The only people that I know that have tasted it unanimously, like they couldn't stand it. So that's it. This is our very first video, Whiskey Savages, our very first review. We would appreciate any support that you could give us. A like, a follow, a share, subscribing to our channel. The videos and content that we're going to be having in the future isn't just about stuff that you shouldn't get or whiskeys that you shouldn't buy. It's going to be about ones that we really liked, that were really good, ones that surprised us and we found were really worth the money that you were going to pay for it. Being from Canada, being from Ontario, alcohol is super expensive and the supply can be very limited. So the idea is our experiences, our reviews, our suggestions would save you some of that time, effort, and money in sourcing out your own bottles and starting your own collection and your own experience with single malts. So again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you soon.